If you're thinking of making your first R package, well, firstly, congratulations, that's actually quite a big deal. But you may be wondering, well, where do I start? What's actually involved? In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips to consider when making your first R package. And I've even made an R package of my own that helps you to build R packages, so stay tuned to the end of the video where I will share that with you. If you're new to this channel, hey, my name's Lee Durbin and I help data practitioners break free of spreadsheets and advance their analytical careers. I'm passionate about R and open source, and I share a lot of what I know here on this channel. So if that's of interest to you, then don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so let's dive into it. 5 tips for making your first R package. Here we go. Now, this might seem kind of obvious, but you need to give your package a name. You might have heard the saying that there are only 2 hard things in computer science: cache and validation, and naming things. Naming your package can be harder than you think. Now, there are only 3 hard and fast rules. Number 1, the name can only consist of letters, numbers, and periods. So, no hyphens, no underscores. Number 2, it must start with a letter. And number 3, it cannot end with a period. That's it, the rest is entirely up to you. But try and think of something that is somewhat unique and memorable. Don't choose something that is already taken. And if you can, try and go for something that gives a sense of what the package is about. Some kind of description, albeit a brief one. You sort of want to point to the problem that this package is trying to solve. So when users are looking for R packages, they'll see the name and they'll think, this actually could be the thing I'm looking for. Oh, and stay away from trademarked names. You don't want to get sued, right? Let me give you an example of what I think is a good package name. So I built an R package at work, like an internal package at work, for calculating the amount of resourcing that we need across different sites, different facilities. And so I ended up calling that package Resourceful R. So that name tells you that it's got something to do with resourcing, it's got something to do with R, and it's kind of a play on the words resource filler, resourceful R. So I kind of thought that was quite a good name. By the way, you can change the name of your package if you need to, but it is kind of fiddly to do, so try and get it right from the start if you can. To make an R package, you will need to install some software. On a Mac, which is what I work on, you will need Xcode, whereas on Windows, you'll need something called RTools. I'll put links to these things in the description box down below, so don't worry about that. Don't worry, they're both free, but you will need to install them before you get started. There are a couple of other things that I recommend installing that are not essential, but they're really, really useful. Now, the first is Git. Git is version control software. Now, again, it's completely free, and to be honest, if you're thinking of building R packages, then you probably already know what Git is. And you probably already have it installed, but if you don't, go ahead and install that. Another one that is optional, but I think is really, really useful, is an R package called DevTools. DevTools is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of R package development. It provides a suite of really useful functions that make package development so much easier. It's really easy to install it, just install .packages, DevTools, and you're away. Okay, let me just say before I get into this one, if you're still using setwd, then you need to stop doing that and start using R projects. Also, check out an R package called here, and again, check the description box down below for links to these. Okay, so now you're actually ready to create your first package. You've chosen a name and you've installed some essential and recommended software. Presumably you have RStudio open, but do you have it open in another project? The reason this is important is because your package will need to live in its own directory, not within an existing R project, right? So what I tend to do is I open up RStudio, and then usually it'll automatically open up the project that I was previously working in, and then I will just do File, Close Project. So then it takes me out of that project environment, and then I can create my package within a top level directory rather than within a project, an R project directory. And the reason it will default to where I would like to create the package is because I've set a default working directory in Global Options. So if you go to Tools, Global Options, you can set your default working directory there. If you're happy with where you are located on your machine, then just go ahead and pass use this create underscore package into the console, and in the brackets, in quotation marks, pass the name of the package that you want to create. So you can see here in this example that I'm calling my package PackagePal, which is the name of the package that I will talk about in just a minute. So after calling use this create package, you'll be magically transported into a new project directory, which is where you can develop your package. And you should see some standard R files there already. Congratulations, you've created your first package. Of course, it doesn't really do anything at this stage, but before we start writing a single line of R code, we need to make sure that we change our R project directory into a Git repository and that we connect this to our account on GitHub. Other code management platforms are available, but I use GitHub, a lot of people use GitHub, so that's what I'm going to talk about here. So making your package a Git repository, it couldn't be easier. Just type use this, use_git in the console, and the use this package, which comes bundled with DevTools, it'll take care of that for you. It'll ask if you want to commit these initial changes, i.e. the actual creation of the package, so just go ahead and say yes. So don't forget, as you continue to regularly stage and commit your changes, trust me, your future self and your collaborators, if you're working with other people, will thank you. Now, pushing your changes to GitHub might require a bit more setup, probably more than I have time to cover in this video. But again, the use this package does really simplify this process, and it's the kind of the workflow that I tend to follow. So first of all, I assume you already have the GitHub account. If you don't, then go ahead and make one. It's completely free. It'll take you 10 seconds. Then in RStudio on the console, type use this gh_token_help. Hit enter, and it will just tell you if you've got everything set up correctly. If you've never pushed to GitHub before, then you won't have it set up correctly, so you'll need to do that. But don't worry, if you don't have it set up, then look in the description box down below, and I've linked to a guide that will just step you through the process. GitHub setup can sometimes be a little tricky, but if you follow that guide, you should be good. Okay, so assuming that everything is set up fine, then you can just go ahead and type use this, use GitHub in the console, and that command will just take care of everything for you. It should then flip over to the GitHub repository in the browser, and then you should see those kind of initial package files there in that GitHub repository. So now you've connected your local machine, your local environment to the remote GitHub repository, so good on you. What are the advantages of this? Well, you're backing up your work, and you can also easily share it with others. So if the package that you're building is going to be useful to other people, and usually that's the case, then having it on GitHub means that they can also use what you are creating for their own benefit. Alright, now you're actually ready to develop this package. Everything is set up, you're good to go, you've got version control and everything. You can actually write R code, but I want to make this as easy as possible for you. That's why I built Package Pal, which I designed to be a good pal for R package developers like you. It's on CRAN. CRAN have accepted it, which means that you can just go ahead and type install.packages package pal in your console and it will install it. It's pretty lightweight and it's really easy to use. You just need to type package pal checklist into the console and you'll see, well, a checklist. You'll see in that checklist a bunch of things that we've already covered in this video, such as installing Xcode, RTools, Git and so on. But further down the checklist you'll see handy tips as you progress in your R package development journey. Things like how to set up your testing infrastructure, how to create a citations file and a license, how to document your dependencies and so on. Now this sort of information is available on the web through different learning resources, but the great thing about Package Pal is it'll be right there alongside you where you're working. So you won't need to break your flow to remind yourself of what it is that you need to do next in your package development process. Oh, and by the way, once you've actually built your package, if you want to ensure that it is CRAN ready, then just type a package pal checklist and pass the argument CRAN, and you'll get a whole other checklist of things to consider prior to submitting your package to CRAN. I've been through the process of submitting a package to CRAN and having it accepted, so I guarantee you these tips are really useful. Okay, so there you go, 5 tips for getting started with building packages in R. I hope you found these useful. I hope you find Package Pal really helpful. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up if it was useful to you, and good luck with your package building journey. So until next time, bye for now.